All right. So here we are, Dylan and I. We've decided we don't want to be all real estate all the time. We definitely have personal lives. We definitely have hobbies and things we like to do outside of real estate. And the one thing that I think we can like super agree on and we feel like we are very enthusiastic about and dedicated to is Jazz basketball. And so that's why we decided like on Fridays, we're just going to have our kind of like fun Friday, talk a little Jazz basketball. Occasionally we are going to have guests on the show and stuff, do some quick interviews that are related to housing. However, most of this show is going to be based on Jazz basketball, how the Jazz are doing, what our thoughts are on them. Neither of us are professional as far as commentating goes or podcasting. Dylan does have a little bit of coaching and playing experience, but for the most part, this is just our opinion. So if you disagree with it, that's fine because our opinion doesn't matter in the slightest. This will never make it back to Coach Q. And so it's just what we think, right?
Yes.
So game-wise, we did just have preseason. Preseason's getting wrapped up. There was one game that we really wanted to focus on today and kind of go over and talk about a little bit what we thought, how each player was performing. Because, you know, the first two preseasons games, we really didn't see any of the starting lineup. I mean, very few of those players were on. And so we just kind of wanted to talk about the New Orleans Pelicans game where we saw a little bit more playing time from the key players and kind of talk about a little bit more what we thought of them and kind of give each of them a grade for the preseason. So yeah, who do you want to talk about first, Dylan?
Let's go Mike Conley.
Mike Conley. Yeah. Okay. Grade.
B plus.
B plus?
B plus.
Preseason B plus for Mike Conley. What's the reason? You can't give the guy an A on his birthday?
Yeah, I forgot about that. I mean, stats-wise, I thought he played well, but nothing extraordinary. I mean, just solid, like he usually is during the regular season, solid player. He'll have some plays where he'll come off a screen, especially coming off those screens up high at the top of the key, knock down threes. But I felt like he lacked in dribble penetration and getting everybody else involved a little bit. I felt like he was very, I don't know, this may be injury related and preseason related, but hesitant on attacking the basket and actually being aggressive. It seemed like he was sitting around, you know what I mean, coming off screens and just either pulling up or passing the ball.
Yeah. I think I can agree with you on the not getting a whole lot of other people involved. I mean, if we pull up and take a look at what he did in that game against the Pelicans, just trying to pull this up here. I mean, he did have 5 assists, but it didn't seem like it. It didn't seem like there was a whole lot that he was doing to get everybody else involved. I did feel, though, like I felt like the floater was on. I felt like, you know, he had coming off the screens. If the defender goes under the screen, he was hitting that pull-up 3 at a pretty good clip. Looking at that from the 3-point line, he shot 75%, went 3 for 4. So I felt like he had that when guys were going under the screen. And then when guys trailed over the top, I felt like he was getting to the rim and hitting that floater. But like you said, I did feel like there were a couple times where I thought, yeah, he took the floater and yeah, he probably made it. But it seemed like there was either a better kick to the corner to get a guy more open look or even the lob to Rudy.
Yeah, like I said, point guard, kind of typical distributor. I felt like you said, there was a couple times where he had nice floaters. Just lack of aggression going towards the basket. But I think that has a lot to do with preseason and as well as, like I said, maybe an injury.
Yeah.
It takes a second for guys after an injury to become aggressive again.
Yeah. So what are your thoughts? What are your expectations for Conley for the season?
Kind of early to say. I think for the Jazz to be successful, obviously they're going to need him to perform well. And I thought his performance last year was his performance last year, he did well. But is he going to be able to stay healthy the entire year is the question.
But there's always a but.
Yeah.
I agree.
That's a big but, too.
That's a big but. Okay. Well, yeah, moving on to off of Conley, let's stick around with our guards. Donovan Mitchell.
the man.
Donovan Mitchell, star of the team. What do you think? Preseason game, preseason grade for Donovan.
B+.
B+?
Yeah.
Okay.
Third quarter, A+.
Okay. Yeah.
But for the whole game, B+. Efficiency and consistency are always going to be the question when he plays.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see that. And I mean, honestly, I love the guy. Don't get me wrong. I love Donovan Mitchell. I want him to always be in Utah. I want him to always have a Jazz jersey on. I felt like in the preseason there was there was a lot of mistakes and a lot of rust, it seems like. I don't think it has anything to do with skill or his how he comprehends the game. I just think he's got to shake off some more rust. It's a good thing it's a preseason game because, I mean, you look at his numbers. I mean, yes, he had 18 points in that Pelicans game, but the thing that killed me about the Pelicans game is he had 5 assists, yet he had 6 turnovers.
And they were dumb turnovers.
They were bad turnovers. That led to fast break transition offense.
Lazy passes at the top of the key that, defended. You don't even have to be an NBA player to pick off those passes.
Yeah. So, I mean, those are the kind of things that kill me. And then even his shooting percentage, he went 7 for 18 from the field, 39% roughly, 2 for 8 from 3 at 25%. I mean, like I said, I hope, right? We both hope that's just rust, right? And I really think it is. I think he's got to shake it off. He's got to get back in rhythm. There was one play, though, that I was like,
that was impressive.
Oh my heavens. If he can pull that kind of stuff off this season, we're going to be just fine.
Two plays, I think that.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you mine since you have 2 and then you can tell yours. I think the play where he drives middle ends up when he gets to the paint going behind the back, followed right up with a step back.
Like a Dirk Nowitzki step back.
One-footed step back was just insane. Nothing but net, pure shot. That kind of stuff, though, is what he's done his whole career. As far as every year he comes back, I watch him and I think, well, I've never seen him do that before. Yet here he is just constantly progressing every offseason. I'm really excited to see what he does this year.
Yeah, the one I was thinking of, he and Devontae Graham were kind of going back and forth, which is fun. A little bit of rivalry, playing when they were younger together. The one I thought, though, was extremely impressive. That one was also on my list, but the second one was he and Devontae Graham are going back and forth. Looked like Devontae was getting up in his grill a little bit. Mm-hmm. He takes him to the basket, dribbles hard left, spin move, and then step back to the three-point line. I can't remember if it was a 3 or not, but it was toes on the line, that deep, drills it, but it just looks so smooth, and it created, like I said, he's 6'1". To be able to create that much space, being 6'1", is pretty impressive, and to be able to get your shot off like that, because it's not like his legs are very long. He can't, his step backs, he can't push back that far, but he's so athletic that his step back, he's able to jump back 5 feet. You know what I mean?
Maybe that was the practice this season of seeing, what kind of combination moves can we get to a step back jump shot off the dribble.
Create anything to create space.
Yep. Moving on from him, I mean, then it gets a little interesting, right? Now we jump on over to Royce O'Neal. Royce O'Neal is your energizer, right? Like, you don't expect Royce to put up huge numbers, yet you expect him to come in and be your 3-and-D guy, create the energy, which I don't necessarily feel like he did in the preseason, but again, it's preseason. Like, I don't know of anybody that can bring a whole lot of energy in the preseason or who wants to.
Yeah, are we grading on a curve?
Sure.
Because I don't think I can compare Royce O'Neal with Donovan Mitchell. My expectations, those change a little bit when we're talking about these different players. Mm-hmm. Royce O'Neal, for his role, I'd give him an A. I thought he did well defensively. 3 for 5 from field goal percentage, 2 for 4 from 3. I thought he shot the ball well from deep too. There was a couple where, in the past, it's taken him a few seconds to get his shot off. There was a couple plays there where I felt like he got the ball out of his hands a lot quicker when he shot the three.
Yeah, I kind of noticed that too. I mean, it seems like in the past he's kind of being like a set shooter type thing, which these were still set shots, but it seems like he's getting a little bit more of a jump shot versus a standstill set shot on those threes now, which is going to help him get it over the top of those long range defenders, long arm defenders.
Yeah, I mean, even his plus minus is 21. I mean, that's pretty good.
Yeah, yep. I was happy with Royce. Again, I'm glad we've got everybody back, but Royce, like I said, is the glue guy. So
yeah,
and going away from the starters here now, I think another piece that's going to be that glue guy for us is Eric Pascal.
Yeah, I was surprised. I was a little worried about him at the start of the preseason.
Yeah,
I felt like we had his shot selection. He had no conscience whatsoever.
Let it fly.
Yeah, that looked like that was his motto. This game though, and I think it has something to do with starters coming back. He probably recognizes his place when the starters on the floor, where those guys aren't playing those last few games. He probably understands that he does need to step it up. But this game, very efficient.
Yeah,
6 or 7 on the field goals. And then what I noticed was I was glad 1 for 2 from 3. I don't think he should be shooting any more than 2 threes a game unless he's, absolutely feeling it.
Yeah.
I think he should really push to take it to the basket with him being a mini Shaq like he is.
Yeah. I mean, there were a couple plays there against the Pelicans that he just played bully ball. It was like, man, the defender's way smaller than him. I can't even remember how big he is, but he's like 250 or something like that, weight-wise, Pascal. And so, I mean, there was a couple times where he was just like, you as a defender are so much smaller than me. I'm just going to get to the rim and I'm going to back you down. Not even back you down. I mean, he just drove it on him, pushed the defender around till he got to the rim and laid it in.
Yeah. I think he has... His ceiling is not super high, but I think he could be a solid player for the Jazz. I think we look to him, and I think we've spoken about this. He's kind of like the Jazz Draymond Green.
Yes. Yeah.
I don't think his ceiling is going to be anything spectacular, but if he can step it up on defense, maybe create a little bit more havoc, getting more steals, blocks, that kind of thing. Offensively, stick to that 10 points a game. I think he would be solid.
Yeah. He will be the bench energizer guy. Now, getting back off the energy players, because again, I mean, Royce O'Neal, Eric, we love them. Glad to have them on the team. You just don't expect a whole lot game to game. You don't necessarily need their scoring production or prowess. You just need them to bring that energy. One guy, though, that I think is going to be a major make or break for the Jazz is Bogdanović. Like, I think our season is going to rely on him a lot because he's going to be that guy that, Donovan, Conley can be on, they can be off or whatever. But if Bojan can put together a good game, then that's going to determine if we win or lose.
Yeah, he can get feeling at some games. Shot selection. That's my number one for Bojan is what kind of shots are you taking? A lot of his shots, I'd say 5 shots he had against the Pelicans were completely forced.
Yeah. Tell me what your thoughts are on this. I think way too often he's trying to create his own shot when, in my opinion, he is not a shot creator.
No, he's not. He's not athletic enough to be able to...
As evidenced in that attempted dunk.
That was horrendous.
Everybody on the bench is giving him the thumbs down.
He not the most athletic guy, but the only advantage he's going to have is size.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's 6'8". Posting up, he should be able to take advantage of guards. A lot of times he lets them strip the ball away from him.
Yeah.
He's pretty soft down low, but he just forces too much and tries too much to become the shot creator instead of being that kick out guy that knocks down threes, or, there's so many different things he could do. Shot creating, I don't think is one of them.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that time he got stripped there in the middle. And here's the thing, right? Bojan's a good player. You look at his stat line against the Pelicans, it's actually pretty good, and he's a plus 23.
Yeah.
Like, stat line wise, he's okay. He went 2 for 7 from the 3, which sucks. So again, hopefully he shakes off that rust. But I feel like I'm pretty critical of him because I don't feel like he sticks to his strengths.
Yeah.
Like, way too often, you could totally see the second he caught that ball, the one time he posted up that game, the second he started backing it down, I immediately thought, number one, he's not going to pass this out. He's not going to throw it out no matter what happens. And number two, he's going to get stripped.
Yeah, well, he shouldn't throw it out. He's got a 6'3" guard on him. He just needs to go up strong.
Well, but what's the problem? I don't know what his problem. He always goes middle. He's so predictable. He did it every time last season.
His left hand I just don't think is very good.
Yeah. I mean, there were so many times last year and in this preseason game, this one time, I guess, that, he's going middle. It's easy as a defender to strip it from him when all he's got to do is drop step to the baseline and he's got a layup.
Yeah. I just don't think he has a left hand to drop step to.
Yeah. Well, time will tell.
Yeah.
We'll see if Bojan can pull that off. Rudy Gobert.
I was waiting for this. Daddy Gobert.
Daddy Gobert. Like it. Dominated. Plus 37.
Yeah. I think he's one of those guys that love to play with, hate to play against.
Yeah.
Doesn't take any shots really away from you. He's more of a cleanup guy.
Mm-hmm.
And then defensively, and I know the guards mentioned that they were going to rely less on him and try a little bit harder in the perimeter to I know they're going to still funnel to him, but I think try a little bit harder so they're not opening up the gate so that guards just go right past them to get to Rudy Gobert, because I think that accounted for a lot of his foul trouble last year.
Donovan did have one more block than Rudy this game. Donovan had 3. Rudy only had 2.
Wow. Donovan had 3 blocks.
Donovan had 3 blocks.
Wow. That's pretty impressive. Yeah, but Rudy's are pretty nasty when he does block.
True. That one swatted into the stands. That was pretty
I
dirty.
can't think of Donovan's block where he had to Xbox, you double jump, press A, where Donovan had to kind of do a little bit of a double jump there, defy the law of gravity to get up and block that guy in the fast break.
Yeah, and that's the other thing. I mean, Rudy goes 19 points, 19 rebounds. 19 points and 19 rebounds. I mean, if you can get a 20-20, if we can have Rudy averaging a 20-20, there's no reason we don't make a deep playoff run. The thing that I loved about his 2020, 19-19, right, this game, is in the past it seems like a lot of the points are cleanup, right? And your rebounds are going to go up if you're getting a lot of cleanup points, which I'm fine with. Totally fine with him having those cleanup points. I like when he's around the basket. The thing that surprised me about the preseason, this Pelicans game in particular, as well as the Olympics, is I'm like, where has this Rudy Gobert been that is just going to dominate? That is just going to physically impose his will and do what he wants on the basketball floor?
Yeah, I think a lot of that has to do with confidence and feeling, I don't know how well he does in high pressure situations. It seems like when he's matched up with really good bigs in the league, he tends to back down instead of rising to the occasion.
Offensively,
yes. But I think that's a huge issue is Rudy Gobert, when we play the Pelicans, who does the Pelicans have for a big? I don't even know the guy's name.
No, they got who started?
Oh, Valanciunas.
Valanciunas, yeah.
He's the softest big I've ever seen.
He's not bad.
Oh, he's so soft.
Not that big.
He's pretty skilled.
Okay. I'll give you the
so
softness.
soft.
I'll give you the softness.
Did you see it? I think I've never seen a 7-footer so soft in the post. Anyway, okay, but that's a whole nother story. Let's go back to
jazz.
Rudy. I think Rudy, the key is rising to the occasion and not backing down when he's facing these good bigs. And Valanciunas didn't play a whole lot, I felt like. And Valanciunas defensively is probably one of the worst defensive bigs in the league. Yeah. Nobody ever looks at him as a good defensive player.
Yeah.
He's skilled offensively, but that's it.
Yeah. And Rudy, I have zero complaints about Rudy this game, right? Dominated. He, like you said, Daddy Gobert. I mean, he just dominated. The thing that I would like to see as the season goes on, there are a lot of times I feel like Gobert goes with the finesse move.
Yeah.
And I want to see I want to see the Shaq move.
Yeah.
I want to see I'm going to dunk this down your throat because I can.
Yeah. I've never really seen a 7-1 guy trying to Euro so much in my life, but yeah, even mixing in a little bit of both. I know obviously he's not the strongest guy, pretty slim build. He's no Joel Embiid when it comes to just his physical stature.
Yeah.
But being 7'1", if he could just, even if he can't really just back people down, if he could just stand his ground, all he's got to do is turn up and have a nice little baby hook there. But instead, he's getting pushed off the block and has to, while he's getting pushed off the block, throw up some shot away from the basket instead of going towards the basket.
Yeah. All sorts of players that got playing time in the preseason, right? Like the Jazz are trying to decide who they're going to keep on the roster, who they're not. So we're not going to get to everybody. We just don't have time for that. But there are a few others that I did want to talk about. One being Rudy's backup. And I guess we kind of combo this because at this point, I don't know who Rudy's backup is.
Yeah.
Like, I was really excited when we signed Whiteside, but now I'm like, dude, like, are you really better than Azubuike? And in my opinion, Whiteside's on the downhill versus I think Azubuike hasn't hit his ceiling yet.
I'm hoping, this is a big hope. I'm hoping that Hassan Whiteside is just, it's preseason and doesn't care, because that's what it looks like.
That's exactly what I thought. I was like, dude, why are you on the floor? Like, you act like you're just out there walking around.
It looks like somebody just like had kicked his dog before the game and was a little upset.
Yeah.
It did not look like he cared to be there. Looked like he just was showing up to make appearances and then to get off the court.
Well, and Coach Quinn, his offense is centered around the big setting the screens.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how the motion gets started. That's how the blender has Buller Jack, and I can't believe I just used a Buller Jack word.
Buckle up, Jazz fans.
Anyway, that's how it gets going. And Whiteside, I don't think he set one solid screen the whole game. Game.
Look how big he is. Rudy was a much better screen setter. Hassan Whiteside could be amazing at setting screens, but he's so lazy. He doesn't want to get to the spot and beat the defender to the spot that he, number one, he got a few fouls.
Yeah. Picked up some early ones.
Stupid ones. And everything that he did wrong, I think could be fixed if he would just quit being so lazy.
Yeah. I feel like Azubuike on the flip side is not lazy. He's giving everything he's got, but he just is. He seems out of shape.
Yeah.
And I understand he's coming off an injury, but it seemed like he was giving on his all, and he was either out of shape or a combination of that, and also confused still about where he's supposed to be within the offense.
Yeah. Again, time will tell with him. I'm a little bit concerned. Obviously, if in the regular season he doesn't pick this up, I think he's going to be another, Jeff Green for the Jazz, where we had high hopes for a player that maybe passed his prime, but ended up not.
Falls apart.
Yeah, and the nice thing is, like you said, we got Azubuike, who I think actually isn't too bad, and then you got Marcus Bolden, who I think is actually pretty solid. Not great, but for a backup with those two guys. Obviously, I think Hassan Whiteside, you have a lot more experience, playoff time. He's going to be better than those guys. But like I said, if regular season comes around and he's not playing hard.
If you have to cut one of the three, who do you cut? Bolden.
Right now?
Yeah, Bolden, Azubuike, Whiteside.
Right now I'm cutting Bolden.
Yeah.
I think Azubuike, like you said, last year has an injury, still really young, athletic. I think Azubuike, he could be the Clint Capella kind of player.
Yeah. To be fair as well, Bolden didn't get any time against the Pelicans, so we'll keep that in mind. Okay, we got to bust through these last few really quickly here. Joe Ingles.
again, grading on a curve, I'm going to go with a B.
And I'm even like, did Joe Ingles show up to take the test?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, he was there, didn't do anything bad.
Had a couple
I mean,
threes.
I mean, there's nothing to like complain about necessarily, yet he was just he was there.
Yeah. So stat-wise, he actually looks decent. You know, he went 2 for 5 from the field, which were all threes. 2 for 5 from 3.
Mm-hmm.
Couple rebounds and 4 assists, which is great.
Yeah.
It's his plus minus is where I'm a little bit concerned. It's 5. And he got 20 and a half minutes.
Yeah.
So looking at other players like Mike Conley, who got 20 and a half minutes, his plus minus was 35.
Yeah, and against this team, the Pelicans depleted, not having Brandon Ingram, not having Zion Williams play. I mean, that's a plus 5 just shouldn't happen. So
No.
What about moving on to Jordan Clarkson?
I think it's impressive when your sixth man comes off and is, I think what is he, third leading scorer of that game?
Yeah.
Yeah, third leading scorer of that game, shooting 50% from the field, 6 for 12 and 3 for 6 from 3. Like,
that's the biggest thing that stood out to me. I love Jordan Clarkson. I think sometimes he can get a little trigger happy with the shots and the shot selection.
Yeah.
However, if Jordan Clarkson can average 50% from the field
we're golden
all season, yeah, we're set. We're set.
I again, big thing with him. Jordan Clarkson and Bogdanovich are similar in what kills them and hurts the team is when they're not on and their shot selection tends to be poor because they're trying to get on, and it comes at the expense of the rest of the team.
Yeah.
But when they're on, they're on.
Yeah. Last thing I want to cover, these last two players. How do the additions of Rudy Gay and Jared Butler, how do those two affect the team? Where do they fit in? What do they do? We haven't seen a whole lot of them, but yet in my mind, I keep thinking that they are going to be role players, but what is that role?
Rudy Gay, I am optimistic about again. He's been hurt for the past few years. I think finally opted in and get surgery this last off season. So my expectations are a little bit higher from that. I think he could be a solid, guy coming off the bench. I don't think he's ever going to be a Joe Johnson like we had. That was, he was kind of the man here, even though he was pretty old.
Yeah.
I think Rudy Gay, though, come playoff time is where it'll be nice to have him between experience, which I don't think the Jazz necessarily lack anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But I think experience and then his ability to guard,
1 through 5.
Yeah. I think he's a little
2
bit
through
slower
5.
now. Yeah. So I'm going to go 1, but I think 5, he's a little small. I think, was he 6'8"?
Yeah.
Something like that. I think, but even guarding 2 through 4, that's where the Jazz struggle a lot. And I think come playoff time, he could be a good addition to have whenever there is that stretch 4 that we need help with. Because I don't think Bogdanovich is not a good defender. He's not terrible, but he's not a great defender.
Mm-hmm.
Joe Ingles used to be pretty good, and I still am amazed every time he's on the floor at how good he is because he is so awkward playing defense. I think Rudy Gay, you're going to be important to have him as a 3-and-D kind of guy.
Yeah. Yeah. And like you said, he's 6'8", not huge. He's getting older. I like that you brought up Joe Johnson because that was kind of the thought that I had. Like, we don't need you to do a whole lot throughout the year.
No.
But when it comes playoff time, I mean, if you can give us something similar, even, just give us a resemblance of what Joe Johnson gave us in that series against the Clippers. I mean, you don't have to hit the game winner, but just give us that kind of production, and that would be a success in my mind. So, and I mean, the other thing too is like, if you're going to be a championship team and you're going to contend for a championship, you need all these guys at a very, very high level. I do think that throughout the season, though, if guys like Jared Butler, if Pascal, if Rudy Gay, if all of these guys can even give you a plus minus of like 5, big deal. Big deal, because the Jazz starters are going to be far and beyond most of the teams, I think, not only in the West, but in the entire NBA.
I think, did you see that stat last night of plus and minus for the Jazz starters?
I did not.
For last year. Mike Conley was number 1 in the league for the plus minus. Or was it Rudy? Mike Conley and Rudy Gobert 1 and 2. Yes. Donovan was 15. Bogdanovich was like 8.
Now that you say that, yeah, I did see that. Boyan was like 8.
Yeah. That speaks volumes because at that point you're like, okay, well, our starters are obviously where we need them to be. Yeah, we need some depth. And I think the Jazz acquired that this offseason. Fear now is, and this hasn't happened in a while, but is age for the Jazz. For the past, it's always been, oh, the Jazz are so young. But this time, I think Joe Ingles getting old. Rudy Gay getting old. You got a few of these guys that are older, and then you got really young guys, and it's just this huge gap. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's no, guys with 5 or 6 years in the league. Everybody's got either a couple of years, rookies, or they're, vets by now.
Yeah. Well, that's all the time we got for today. We'll see. We'll see what the Jazz do this year. We're excited to bring you some coverage on that. Something that we're both passionate about, something that we feel if you're living in Utah or you're moving to Utah, you got to be a Jazz fan.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it just doesn't exist if you're not a Jazz fan.
I hate seeing Lakers jerseys in Utah.
Yeah, that's a killer too. We should ban. They're not letting people in Vivint this year if you don't have a negative COVID test or the vaccine. So we should also ban other teams' jerseys, namely Lakers. Anyway, so yeah, we're excited to continue to bring you guys coverage. We'll keep an eye on these players as they go throughout the season and give our 2 cents. But like I said, our 2 cents is probably worth exactly that.
Yeah, just about. Remember, Daddy Gobert.
Daddy Gobert. Here we go. Go Jazz.